There is a brand new addition to the Houston Texans roster, and it's certain that this is going to spark some competition in the wide receiver room as we're going to give you all the details on the new Houston Texan. Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Donovan Ricondo, and welcome to Texans Digest, your YouTube channel for all the latest news, updates, and rumors about your favorite H-Town team. And we are currently at 1,884 subscribers. And by the end of the day, we are trying to get to 1,885. All right, here comes the first story of the day. We are talking about the Texans, who have signed a former Lions wide receiver. The Houston Texans have inked a new wide receiver to the roster, and that is, according to Aaron Wilson, who broke this news, Quintez Cephus, per a source at KPRC2. Quintez Cephus, your new Houston Texans in the wide receiver room. And you're probably wondering, like, who the heck is this guy? I've never heard of him before. Oh, is he good? Is he great? Is he bad? Is he what? What is the deal with him? And long story short, he is just a guy that we've signed to kind of see what happens, right? Like, we already have a lot of wide receivers on the team that are going to be starters, like Kirk, like Nico Collins, and other guys like that. We have the 3 Iowa State wide receivers as well that we are going to have on our roster pretty much. And so this is just another wide receiver to see, hey, is he a good fit with our system? Is he a guy that can be useful in some sort of way in the season? And so that is what this signing is. And I'm going to give you a little bit more details on Quintez Cephus, who was a member of the Lions' pass-catching core for 3 seasons, was also a part of the Texans' preseason roster in 2024. That's if the name is familiar to you. Before he was cut before the regular season kicked off. He was also previously signed to both the San Francisco 49ers and the Los Angeles Rams earlier this off season. This is already his 3rd team in this entire off season. But as we all know, he was inevitably waived by each of those teams. And so Cephus, he's 6'1", so kind of smaller for a wide receiver, but he's 208 pounds. He's a veteran wideout entering his age 27 season. So he's a little bit more mature. He's got a little bit of experience in the NFL. The last time he did suit up, though, was in 2022 for Detroit for a regular season game, where he started his career as a 5th-round pick in the 2020 NFL draft. So since then, he hasn't necessarily found his footing as a wide receiver for the teams that he was on, like the 49ers. He was being on the Lions, didn't really get that much playing time for himself up there in Detroit. Now, during his time with the Lions, Cephus has 22 games played while starting in 6 of them, logging 568 total yards on 37 catches, also hauling in 4 touchdowns. His best year of production, though, came from his rookie year, very similar to a guy like Dameon Pierce, who we just talked about yesterday right here on this channel. And that rookie campaign for Cephus was in 2020 when Matthew Stafford was the quarterback. There, he secured 20 receptions on 349 yards and 2 touchdowns. And the good news I see with that right now is that he had his best year with obviously the best quarterback he's played with, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL today and of all time. And so the good news is in that aspect, right? If he has like a solid quarterback, he's going to be able to put up some pretty good numbers, right? I think C.J. Stroud is a good quarterback, better than Matthew Stafford. Rather take him over Matthew Stafford any day currently right now. And so that's kind of an upside, right? He's going to be playing for a good quarterback. Maybe he just had a bad luck in terms of playing with quarterbacks that aren't fantastic. I don't know. You can kind of go back and forth with it. I do think he's not Calvin Johnson. We didn't sign that Lions wide receiver, although that would be crazy because he's retired and in the Hall of Fame. But at the same time, right, he is a guy looking to prove himself on this Houston Texan roster. He hasn't been in the mix for a regular season game in nearly 3 years, but clearly the Texans have seen enough to merit him a shot to make the roster in a vastly different receiving room than how things looked in 2024. With Cephus on the roster, it puts the Texans right now at 13 total names at wide receiver. And of course, that number will get smaller at some point. We have a bunch of preseason games, including one this Saturday against the Minnesota Vikings. So it's going to be very, very exciting to see what happens in that game. We're going to determine a whole lot of things before this roster eventually starts to get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller to that 53-man roster that we have to have by week 1 of the regular seasons. Below the top 4 to 5 guys will end up getting that nod for that roster. Of course, we have practice guys and whatever, but at the same time, you only got four or five guys. Cephus will have a few more training camp practices underway, along with 3 preseason contests ahead to cement his status, including that game this Saturday. And so I think this is obviously a new signing for the Texans, fair signing. I think the main thing about this is just a signing to kind of just put more competition for the guys you have already there, right? You have Jalen O and Higgins, as well as Aiden Hutchinson, who are all kind of competing for these spots. So we presume are going to get these spots and kind of be those 3, 4, 5 guys. Of course, you still have Tank Dell, who's still injured, so questionable on some of those Iowa State guys. We don't know. But of course, you also have Christian Kirk, who we signed this offseason. We also have Nico Collins, who's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. And so I think a signing like this is just to, push the boundaries a little bit, push everybody else, right? There's 13 wide receivers currently on this team that is going to be cut. And so what this does is just, hey, here's this other guy that's going to try to steal your spot. And I think that is the plan here, right? Of course, if it works out with a guy like Cephus, Quintez Cephus, then great, right? Like, okay, he's going to be on the team. He did a great job. He proved himself. DeMeco Ryans loves what he sees. Nick Haley loves what he sees. Okay, by all means, right? But there's really no harm for the Texans to make this signing. Like, I think it's just a thing that they're going to do just to try to get everybody else to just take it into next gear a little bit, just to make it a little bit better, get everybody a little bit better before this Saturday, before the preseason game against the Vikings, and also week 1 against the Los Angeles Rams, which DeMeco Ryans has gone out and said, hey, this is going to be a measuring stick to see exactly how good we actually are, right? There's a lot of things that this team needs to improve upon. One of those was the wide receiver room last year, which looks totally different from what it does look this year. And so it's all very, very interesting stuff. And so we're going to see how all of this pans out. And if you want to stay up to date on all of those things, if you want to stay up to date on your Houston Texans, because we got more updates coming for you guys, including that video about the running back room, which is very, very important right now. All that lined up on the way for you guys. Again, we are at 1,884 subscribers. We're trying to get to 1,885 subscribers by the end of the day. So help us reach our goal here at Texans Digest. We would greatly appreciate it. And so I've been your host, Donovan Ricondo. Go Texans. We'll see you on the next one. Adios.